Release the Kraken! They kind of like the compost, but they really like the duck feed. This drake right here, his name is Mundungus Fletcher. It's like almost like maybe 40 degrees. Because we've got so much snow on the ground, it's just foggy as all get out. These guys love their baths. It's ridiculous. So my friend Kaylee over at the farm on Quail Hollow challenged me to answer a question. She wanted to know, what are my top 5 reasons for homesteading? And so as I was getting the ducks ready and doing my chores this morning, I gave it a little bit of thought. So here it goes. Reason number 1 is that I love building things. I love creating things. I love taking something that's nothing and making it something. When I think about what we've been doing here at our farm, it's been a lot of that. Over the last 2.5 years that we've owned this place, we've done a tremendous amount of work in terms of rehabbing our ancient house that was built in 1835 to, getting animals like these ducks, or having some frisky barn cats. I don't know if you guys can see them over there. To planting our 600 tree orchard, to trying to put together a game plan for what we're going to do with the barn. Everything that we've been doing with this farm has been awesome, and it's required so much creative energy. Reason number 2, good food. So there is something incredibly satisfying about eating potato chips. Allow me to explain. If you grow a whole bunch of tomatoes in your own garden, and then you slice them very finely into a nice chip size, and then you fry those chips in duck fat from ducks that you raised and harvested yourself, and then you use herbs that you grew in your garden to season it. There is no taste better in the world, good people. The potato chips that we've made that have been entirely sourced from our homestead are absolutely to die for. There's that combination of knowing that your food was grown the right way, you know what was in your food, and you know the work that went into your food, and then you just have this pride and satisfaction, and it's just incredible to eat food like that. And so as Allison and I were thinking about coming out here and thinking about starting our own homestead and farm, good food did play a part in our thinking. Reason number 3, I love the community surrounded with agriculture and homesteading. And when I say community, I use that term on 2 levels. Living in a small town where you help and participate in making things happen in your town, there's just so much incredible opportunity to be connected to a community physically here in Peacham. And if we weren't at this homestead, and if we were still living in Washington, D.C., we would never have these opportunities. And so that aspect of community is awesome. But the other important part of community is the community that exists far beyond here. The community of people online, the community of people who watch our videos, the community of people whose videos we watch, and the subreddits, and the Instagram feeds, and the Facebook comments, and all the connections that get made with people so far from here. I've got a friend, and they're out in India right now. And we've gone back and forth within comments, we've sent messages back and forth, and the connections that I know I've made with that person are just so awesome. And I would have never had that if I'd never decided to participate and be a homesteader and try to start my own farm. And so I'm very grateful for that aspect. Reason number Quatro, I love learning stuff. So as most of you know, I have no agricultural experience. I have no background in doing anything like this. And even as recently as a couple of years ago, I hadn't even really grown stuff in a meaningful way. And to see all the stuff that I've learned, all the skills I've developed, all the new experiences I've had, it's just been incredible. And when I think about all the time I've spent observing animals and observing the land and observing the patterns that we have with our trees and what I've learned from that, there's so much I wouldn't have learned and there's so many skills I wouldn't have developed if it hadn't been for trying to start my own homestead and farm. Plus, if the poop ever hits the fan, I feel like I'm a little bit better prepared than I would have been a couple of years ago too. For reason number 5, this is a weird one, but let me just give it to you. The reason I homestead and the reason I started my own farm is because I know how I want to die. I picture being 104 years old, and Allison has just passed away from old age at the age of 100, and I am distraught and lonely. And so what I do is I pack myself a lunch, I walk to the far back reaches of our pasture, and I sit down under an old maple tree, and I eat my sandwich, and I wait. And I don't know if I'm gonna wait for a day, or I don't know if I'm gonna wait for 3 days. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but eventually a gigantic black bear, a black bear like this, is gonna come upon me, maul me to death, and eat me, and rip at my flesh, and chow down and feast on me. And then just like those raccoons I left off in the back of the woods, the scavengers and carrion eaters are gonna come, and the coyotes and the maggots, and everything's gonna just devour me whole. And I'm just gonna evaporate into the land and the pasture that we have back here. And I know you're probably saying, dude, that's really disgusting. But for me, to become one with this land and to be brought back into the process, and you know, we eat animals that are from this land, and we eat produce that comes from this land, and to be able to have my body be thrown back into the system and go back into the giant energy deposit that is our farm, there's no greater honor in the world, man. So that's my dream. So the reason that factors into why I homestead is because I want to live to be 104. To live to be 104, you've got to get good exercise. You've got to eat the right healthy foods. You've got to challenge yourself constantly. And I think that there's no other lifestyle I can imagine in the world where I would get all 3 of those things on a daily basis. When I think to my life when I was, you know, working a job where I was traveling in hotels 60% of my time and bouncing around the country and eating like crap and drinking way too much and not getting nearly enough exercise, and I compare that lifestyle to what I've got now, it's incredible. And so, yeah, I want to live to be 104. And so to do that, I get up every morning, I work my butt off around this place, but at the same time, I know it's those experiences that are going to toughen me up and make me ready to be eaten and devoured by that bear. So thanks to Kaylee for challenging me to make this video. It was a lot of fun to think about this one. And if you guys want to see what our farm looks like when it's not covered in a whole bunch of snow, check out this video up here. Or you can watch something else. I'll see you guys in that next video. And so will Samuel. Say hi, Samuel.